This video is about interpreting a cumulative frequency graph. Now you'll see that there's a cumulative frequency graph has been ready drawn, and what it does, it shows the number of hours that a group of 120 children spend in a week watching television. So we can see that the graph goes up to 120 on the vertical axis, so that's the total frequency, and then on the horizontal axis the maximum number of hours watched is 12. Now the question that we want to answer is there printed just below the graph, and we're asked to, to use the graph to find an estimate for the number of children who watched for fewer than 5 hours last week. So just a reminder, at A level there isn't an expectation that you'll be actually drawing the cumulative frequency graphs, but interpreting them. So there's actually two ways to estimate this number and the main way that you'll be using is by drawing on the graph. We're interested in the 5 hour mark, so the hours is on the horizontal axis, so you can go along to 5 and then draw a line up to the graph and across to the vertical axis. So up to the graph and then across. Then we can simply read off our value. So using this scale, that is about 42. Now, the other way to calculate this is if you can't draw on the graph, and to do this method you assume that the line between 4 and 6 is a straight line. The graph is fairly straight at this point, and then also assume that the frequency of children is spread out equally between 4 and 6 hours. So how do we do this? Well, let's just start by finding the frequency between 4 and 6 hours. So within this class we can see, just going back to the graph, that at 4 hours the frequency is 30 and at 6 hours it's at 55. So it's 55 subtract 30, we'll look at those in a moment, equals 25. So that's the frequency within that class range. Now from the graph we can see that at 4 hours we've got 30 children already. So our estimate is going to be 30 plus those in 4 to 6 hours, less than 5 hours. So how do we do a calculation to estimate how much more than 30 is the 5 hour mark? And so we can do this by asking two key questions, and the first question is, what fraction of the class are we interested in? So this isn't a class of pupils, this is the class that goes from 4 to 6. So we're interested in 4 to 5. So 4 to 5 hours, that's a total of 1 hour. The total of the class itself is 2 hours. So it's 1 hour out of 2 hours. So it's a nice fraction for us to work with here. It's simply a half. So the second question we need to answer is, what is that fraction of the frequency for the class? So the total frequency for just this class is 25. So we want to find this fraction of 25. So our estimate is going to be 30 plus our 12.5. or 42 hours, sorry, 42 and a half pupils. So if we just compare that to the value that we had from reading off the graph, you can see it's very similar, and we would have got 42.5 if this had been an exact straight line.